Hello everybody, welcome back to Fivefield Junction. Today I've got another review for you today. As we can see, we've got another HST for us today. I think it's been a little while actually since I've done a HST, or well, I think it's actually been quite a while since I've done a Hornby product in general. But we've got another one for us today, and as we can see, it's the Rail Adventure power cars that we have for us today. And not only that, these are also, as we can see, buffered power cars, which is, well, it's typical of all of the Rail Adventure ones because all of the power cars that Rail Adventure have, I don't know if it's all the ones that they own, but definitely all the ones that they operate. They are all the buffered versions, and I've never looked at a buffered HST pack before, or even owned one, so that's going to be quite unique, I suppose. Now, the Rail Adventure HSTs in real life, if you aren't familiar with them, well, to start off with, I suppose we might as well, go about on why buffered versions of the HSTs exist in the first place, because I'm sure most of you are probably familiar. When you think of HST, you don't really think of them of having buffers on the cab ends or anything, do you really? And basically, the buffered HSTs in real life, they were basically done or modified in a sense before. They were basically DVTs before the DVTs that we actually know of, like the class, well, basically the class 82 DVT, if you like, or whatever. Before they came in, these were the DVTs temporarily at the time, if you like. Hopefully you know what I mean by that. But yeah, and that's why they were converted. They converted quite a few over and basically used them as DVTs on Mark III loco-hauled services. I think they might have done some Mark IV ones as well, but I think it was more for Mark IIIs. And they ran for quite a while, obviously until the obviously the DVTs themselves came in. But you can buy them in the Intercity Swallow livery. You can buy them in Virgin Trains cross-country livery, and I think there might be a few more that they've done as well. Obviously, Network Rail have a couple of buffered HST power cars, and I think there might be some more. Obviously, East Midlands Trains or East Midlands Railway or whatever you want to call them, they I think were also one of the main operators of them after obviously the DVTs and everything came in later on in their life. It was East Midlands Trains that ran a lot of them. But once East Midlands got rid of all their power cars and everything, well, I think, or was it, did LNER operate them as well, Virgin East Coast? I don't think they did. I think it was exclusively sort of East Midlands Trains in the modern day sense, if you like, operated them mainly. But yeah, once they got rid of them, Rail Adventure took them over, and they are the current operators today of a lot of these power cars. So all of the power cars that Rail Adventure operates, they are all, well, it's ex-East Midlands ones. When I was saying that, it was Grand Central, sorry. God, being forgetful today. It was Grand Central that operated a lot of these for the majority of the time. So I think it was all of Grand Central's HSTs were all buffered versions. So basically basically after I suppose Virgin cross country and everything, it was then Grand Central that operated them right up until, well, basically quite a lot of their life, I suppose, whilst Grand Central were operating their HSTs. It was then that had them. Then it was East Midlands Trains or East Midlands Railway that had them for a short while, and then it was Rail Adventure that got them. So there we go, finally got it all out. And yeah, if you want one of these packs, I believe there's still quite a few going around. Obviously, the main thing, I suppose, that would put you off is the price, because on Hornby.com, as we can see here, the RRP for these is £362.99. So yeah, very, very expensive. Don't recommend you pay that. If you want one of these, I recommend looking around, going to various retailers, because the normal retailer price for these is £326.99, I believe. If I can find a listing for that price on a retailer, I will put it on screen now. But if you look around, you can get these on offer if you look around like I did, because my particular one came from Sheffield. Unfortunately, it was actually the last pack on there. So whether they still have any or got any more in whilst filming this video, I'm not too sure. But you can get these on offer if you look around. Last time I checked, I think the Model Centre had these for £308 something. And there might be someone else that has them even cheaper than that now. Again, also whilst filming this video, there might be someone else who has them cheaper. but I got mine from Elder Sheffield. It was either £280 or £290, I believe I got this pack for, something like that. So definitely a very good discount, and that's why I always recommend looking around at various retailers to try and make sure that you get the best deal that you can. But it's finally good to have them here. I wasn't going to get them originally when they first came out, because of a issue that I'll go into later on when we open the pack up. But when I saw them on sale at Rose of Sheffield for the price that they were, I thought, you know what, why not? I might as well go for them. I'd literally only fairly recently, not long before buying them, actually seen them in real life. So that kind of, I suppose, tempted me a bit as well to go for them again. Unlike, well, I suppose, again, when I first saw them, wanted them, then changed my mind, and then obviously now got them again. But yeah, it's good to have them here. They look very nice. I have opened the box already just to check they're okay, but they haven't actually been out of the box properly yet, or been on the track or anything. So we'll still get to do the running in and everything and the full testing before that. But anyway, if we have a look on the box here, we can see that they are DCC ready, and it's 21 pin DCC socket inside these. Because obviously they are the latest, very latest HST tooling from Hornby. So you need a pair of 21 pin decoders, 6 function ones ideally, if you want to operate all of the functions in these, because there's quite a lot of functions. Obviously you've got the various lighting functions, and you've got the working fans as well. So definitely recommend 6 function decoders if you can for these to operate all of those functions. We can see the model code for these is R30218, Royal Adventure Class 43 HST Twin Pack. And I believe it does say somewhere the exact running numbers on these. I can't quite remember where it is though. I'm pretty sure it did say it. Let's see. Yeah, it's literally on the box in front of me there. So it's 43480 is the motor units, I believe. Yep, and then the unmotored, so the dummy power car, is 43484. Also, both subclass 4s power cars, because they've received quite a lot of modifications and stuff over time. If we go on the back, we can see here all the history here. So you've got some about the HSTs in general, I believe. And then later on, it will go on to, I think it might talk about the buffered versions as well in here somewhere. I'm pretty sure it should do. Obviously, with these being buffered units, it should talk about that somewhere. And then further on near the end, it talks about these particular power cars and their history and their ownership and everything. So if you do want to read through all of that, then feel free to pause it and read through if you want to. But I'm not going to waste any more time, because I waste enough time all the time and need to stop doing it. So let's open her up and have a look. So let's lift up the flap, get that out of the way, and then we should be able to get the tray out. There we go. So typical Hornby polystyrene packaging, so not really the best in the world, but it does the job, I suppose. I've never had one of these arrive damaged. So just lift that off and get that out of the way. I thought it was still taped to one side, but obviously not. And then we can see here, we've got the power cars in situ there, and we've got the instructions. So we'll have a quick look through these first, because I have looked at one of these new tooling HSTs before. I've looked at the Midland Pullman pack. So if you want to go look at that review, and then feel free to go to the channel, and you should be able to find the review. Because I don't think it was well, I think it's been no more than a year, I think, since I did that power car pack. So it shouldn't be too far down the channel. So if you want to go and see the review of those, then feel free to go and check it out. I recommend it. It's a great pack. So yeah, here we go. We've got the typical instructions here for the new tooling HST. So general stuff, routine maintenance, running in. So let's open it up and have a look inside. So we can see here typical stuff. So we've got lubrication. Really don't need much oil on these. Accessories. So we can see we've got the sort of dummy Buckeye knuckle couplings there. You've got the detailing for the buffer beam. This is quite unusual for obviously for a HST, because obviously usually they don't have buffer beams, but obviously these do. And we can see here, so we got decoder fittings, so removing the body, so it's just like pretty much all other premium HSTs that Hornby have done in the past. So 4 screws, and you lift the body off, so lift up the back, slide it forward, and it comes off. We can see there the location of the decoder socket. So again, blanking plate comes out, 21 pin decoder in. Again, I recommend 6 function 1, and that should be it. That's all you need to do. Let's go to the next page. So we've got other bits here. So driving tips. So I think that talks about various functions and settings. I think so, yeah. It talks about the speakers, because these do both power cars, and well, in fact, all of Hornby's latest HST power cars. Both power cars come with a pair of Sugar Cube speakers pre-fitted. So sound installing is nice and easy, but you don't need to worry about speakers, just the decoder is all you need. The settings there for the working fan, so you've got the switch there inside where you can choose basically how fast the fans spin. I did have an issue. If you haven't seen the review of the Midland Pullman pack that I did have a slight issue with the working fans in those. Not with the fan mechanism themselves, it was just purely the lubricant that Hornby used in that pack, and I believe a lot of other people had the same issue as well on their packs, not necessarily the Midland Pullman ones, but just any new HST pack in general. The lubricant wasn't always the best quality that Hornby used, so it, rather than lubricating the mechanism, it caused it to seize up a bit. So that's one thing that hopefully we don't have on here, but if we do, then obviously I'll mention it and you'll see it. But yeah, hopefully you don't have that issue, because it means you have to dismantle the entire fan mechanism and clean it out and re-lubricate it again. Don't fancy doing it, but if I have to, then I have to. But yeah, hopefully you don't have to. I don't want to do it again. And we can see here lighting functions, and it talks about all the various functions that you can control. So white headlights, cabin, interior lights, rear lights, and on analogs, I think that talks about the function list there, and then what you can do on analog and what you can't do. So usual stuff there, and then we've got the, I guess, this thing for Hornby catalog and everything. And then on the back, yeah, the usual TV suppression stuff. So that's fair enough. But anyway, there are the power cards. We have got some accessories, so let's quickly look at those. So yeah, here we go. This is the buffer beam detailing. So you can see there, you've got the those dummy couplings and the various pipes and everything to go on the front. One thing that is missing from here, which is a bit annoying, and I didn't get them with the Midland Pullman HST power cars either, is there's no magnetic couplings. Because that's one feature that Hornby's new HSTs and their new Mark IIIs, a new feature that they have is that you can fit these new magnetic couplings to them, and they are really good. I've done it to my Midland Pullman rake, and I've done it to one of my other rakes as well. Is the couplings, for a start, it's nice and easy to couple and uncouple stuff, and you also get really nice close coupling between all of the units as well, and it does look really good. However, the HSTs never seem to come with the couplings. The new coaches do, but the power cars don't, so that's a bit strange. I'm not sure why they've done that. It is a bit annoying, but hey ho, I suppose that's that. But I think it would be good if they included them. But anyway, there we go. We can see one of the power cars there, and look at that. Look how beautiful that livery is. It's so nice, and the finish is really good as well. A nice sort of satin finish there. But anyway, let's try and get it out. Be really careful that we don't damage it. There we go, to be nice and careful. There we go, out it comes. So we'll put that to one side for now, and we'll come back to the dummy unit later. But here we are. So this is the motor unit, which you can tell because it's really heavy. Loads and loads of weight. But yeah, look at this. As is usual from Hornby, an incredible HST model. Hornby do these HSTs so well. They look absolutely incredible. Definitely overpriced, like most new models, but still, if you can get them for a good price, I recommend it, because they are absolutely incredible. Look at that finish on the side there, the way the light catches it, and the lettering. The decoration is really good. There's no blemishes anywhere. It's absolutely fantastic. The buffers on the front are sprung, and they feel really good as well. Nice metal buffers. The lights, obviously, we know they're going to work. I mean, why won't they work? One thing I have noticed though is the windscreen there, sort of the fit of the windscreen. It doesn't quite look, well, it just doesn't look very good, to be honest, there. On other models, it's, well, for a start, you can't really see any join there between the panel lengths. So if they painted the windscreen and then fitted it in, I'm not too sure, but that, just the fit of the windscreen there, it doesn't look very good, to be honest, which is a bit of a shame. And the cam rail stripe, actually, I've noticed there, it doesn't look like it's been painted on in the best of lights. So maybe not the absolute best decoration in the world. Slight issue with the cam rail stripe there. But everywhere else, if we just have a look, I think everywhere else looks okay. The cam rail stripe there looks okay. Go on the other side. Yeah, that all looks good there. And again, the cam rail stripe on this side of the cab. So yeah, it's not too bad. I wouldn't say it's the best. That cam rail stripe, it's not really straight, and it's not really consistent in colour. But apart from that little, I suppose, blemish there with the decoration, apart from that, it's not too bad. You can see, again, with the windows on the side there, actually, I've noticed as well, is where they've been painted. So I wouldn't say the join there is great. So I'm guessing on other HST models, the windows, I'm guessing they're bigger. I haven't actually got one beside me that I can easily grab to compare it to. But the sort of join there, obviously where the glazing piece has been painted, if it has been painted, it's not really the best. So that's a bit of a shame, but apart from that, everywhere else on the model looks great. The detail on the bogies is really, really good. They turn quite nicely as well, so there's nothing stopping them from turning. The underframe detail in the middle with the fuel tanks and everything is really, really good, as you'd expect. You can see there all of the detail there. It's nicely moulded. There's no blemishes anywhere. Everything's been fitted very nicely. The grille you can see through, as is usual with most HST models from Hornby. Obviously, you can't actually see anything inside there because it's just the chassis block. But it's nice that you've got proper grills on these. Again, really good detail on the rear bogie there. Get out of the shadow. Really, really nice. You can see the decoration there with all of the numbers. It's been done very well. You can see through the window there, you can see a bit of the stuff inside, a bit of the chassis block there, and I think there's a bit of wiring. You can just about see where the speakers are there, that little circuit board, the speakers underneath there. You can see the couplings as well. Obviously, these are kinematic couplings on the new HST models. Again, I'm not really, as I've mentioned in past videos, I'm not really the biggest fan in the world of kinematic couplings because they can be a bit hit and miss. But certainly on these new HST models, I haven't had any issues with them. And these ones seem to move quite freely as well, which is good. And it is NEM coupling, and you've got a nice small tension knot coupling in there as standard, which is quite nice. And if you wanted to change it out for your own coupling, and you can do that nice and easily. You've got the detail there for the electrical cable connections, which was actually missing on Hornby's previous tooling of the HSTs, or even I think at least a couple of releases of Hornby's previous premium HST was missing that detail, which is a bit strange. So I don't know why they didn't include it on there, but they missed it off for whatever reason. It could have been so that it didn't interfere with the old coupling system, but it's a shame that it was missing. But it's good that they've finally included it on these newer releases. The back of the power car there, you can see all the printed detail there has been done very well. It's got all of the information about the HSTs, so the top speed, the weight, all the usual stuff there. They've got the glazing there in the rear door. Yeah, it's just incredible. We've got handrails all separately fitted. It's got on the roof. You can see there all of the detail on the roof. It's got the exhaust there. You've got the fans, which we'll get to see spinning later. And the moulding on the roof as well has all been done very well. So yeah, overall, great. Overall, 99%, I would say, really good quality. Apart from that little bit of issue with the decoration there on the catrail stripe, overall, can't really complain. Great looking model. Again, really, really heavy, so it'll pull whatever you want. Overall, I can't really fault it. But I suppose the main thing that I suppose I need to get onto is why did I not buy this model earlier? If I liked it so much, because I do like it, it does look really good. Why didn't I buy it earlier? And for those of you that haven't noticed or don't know much about these power cars in real life, because the main thing these power cars do in real life is they run back to back. So you have the other power car here, so the dummy one coupled up, and they basically run double heading, and they couple up to stuff with the nose ends, which is I suppose what makes using the buffered power cars really good. But obviously the main thing that you can't do with these is Hornby never included a coupling on the cab end. As you can see, if I flip it upside down, there's no coupling anywhere on these for you to couple stuff up to the model using the nose ends. So in terms of you using these realistically out of the box, you can't. As simple as that. You can't use these realistically out of the box. Now, there have been a few instances here and there where they have ran top and tail basically as a normal HT would, which is actually the only time I've seen them, when they did the cross-country Mark III coaching stock moves from Lara, and that's when I saw them in real life. So they actually ran basically as a normal HST. So it was a 2+9 brakes, power cars top and tail. So at least I can use them realistically in that sense. But in terms of dragging stuff with them double heading, you can't use them like that out of the box, which is a real shame. I don't know why Hornby didn't do it. They should have done, because especially for the price, you'd want a model to basically you want to be able to use it realistically out of the box, especially again for the price that Hornby charge. So it's a real shame that they didn't do that, because I'm sure there would have been some way they could have incorporated some kind of coupling mechanism under the nose here. Now, luckily, a company, Westhill Works, if you haven't heard of them, they do loads of accessories for various trains and layouts and everything. And luckily, they have produced a kit that allows you to fit a coupling to the nose ends of these for you to drag stuff. So the kit, I believe, comprises of a clip-on end pocket, which clips onto this piece of detail here, and then you can fit a coupling into that. It does come with magnetic couplings, so you can then couple these power cars to whatever you want to haul with using the nose ends. So at least it's possible because someone's done a kit for it. But really, if we're being honest, Hornby should have included a coupling on the nose ends of these out of the box so that you can then run them realistically. So yeah, that definitely I think brings down the value for money score a bit, because out of the box you can't use these 100% prototypically, which is a shame because it does, I suppose, ruin the model a little bit with how nice it is. So yeah, apart from that, a small issue. Overall, not too bad. A really nice model. But anyway, we'll put the power car to one side and we'll have a quick look at the dummy. I just grab it out of the tray. I won't possibly do it off camera, I suppose it'd be easier. There we go. So, dummy unit in hand, there we go. Obviously much lighter because there's no motor or big chassis block inside. We can see the pickups a bit, which is a bit distracting, but obviously, well, I suppose once they're on the track, you're not really going to see them. But yeah, much lighter, and you can see right through the power car there as well. You can see right through the grills, you can see right through to the other sides. But in terms of detail and decoration, it's just as good as on the other power car. What's the camera stripe like on this one? It is a bit better. I wouldn't say the join between the colours is great, but it is slightly better than the other units. Although the quite a lot of glue you can see there on the window there. There was a bit on the other power car. If I just grab it, you can see there is a bit of glue there in the top corner where the glazing has been glued in, and it's not been done quite as well on this power car. Which is a bit of a shame, so maybe they should try some different glues that don't frost up so much. But yeah, apart from that, ever so slight quality issues here and there. Apart from that, still a very good model. Again, sprung buffers, and that one's a little bit wonky. There we go, very nice sprung buffers. And you can see the lighting there, which we'll get to see later. The cab detail, I haven't even talked about that yet. But we can just about see inside there through the windscreen. You can see all of the detail inside. You can see the seats. And you can see all of the controls have been picked out, and you've got the wipers on the front, separately fitted. Overall, yeah, not too bad. My own main gripe, I suppose, with these still is that Hornby still haven't done the opening doors. I know opening doors are a useless feature, but the fact is Hornby did them. They used to do them on quite a lot of their diesels, including their HSTs, and they got rid of them. Why? The prices have gone up and you've actually downgraded the model. That's just not on. I know I've complained about it in the past on other HSTs that I've reviewed, but I'm going to continue to do it because they shouldn't be downgrading models and increasing the prices. It's just silly. So yeah, definitely a shame there not having the opening doors. But apart from that, again, a really nice model. The decoration is really good. Again, apart from that cant rail stripe being a bit iffy on the front. Again, the roof done really well, all nicely moulded. Again, they've got the fans there, which we'll get to see spinning later. Again, go to the back of the power car, all nicely done as well. Got the coupling again, and let's make sure that it still moves nicely. It's a little bit iffy that way. There we go though, that's moving quite nicely, and I'm sure once it's on the track it'll be fine. It's probably just where I'm doing this, it's probably going to get caught at some point. But yeah, overall it moves quite nicely. All-wheel pickup on these, as you'd expect, both power cars, all-wheel pickup and all-wheel drive on the motor unit. So overall, yeah, overall a really good model. Hornby always do these HSTs so well, you really can't fault them. It would be quite nice, I suppose, to see another manufacturer do them, to see if they can do them any better. Akira Scale, I'm looking at you if you're watching. I'm sure many people would like to see a HST from you, because I'm sure you'll be able to do it better than this. As good as Hornby do these, I bet you could do them better, I can guarantee it. But yeah, overall, a really good model, really nice detail, good weight, plenty of features. overall, really can't fault it. So I think what we need to do now then is, for the main event, is we need to get her on the track and see how she runs. Okay, so here we are back at by the layouts once again. So we'll grab the dummy car first and get that on. Should be nice and easy, not too many wheels. There we go. Now before we put the motor unit on first, actually, we'll quickly test the fans to see how well they work. I know these are going to work slightly differently to the motor units in terms of how well each one might perform, because obviously they're two completely different mechanisms. Well, they're obviously the same mechanism in each model, but obviously every model performs slightly differently. So these could perform really well, but that might not guarantee the ones on the motor units might work really well. But hopefully it'll give us a rough idea. So let's just turn up the power and see if anything happens. The fans are trying to work. They're moving really slowly. There we go. That's quite a lot of power there. They're not dreadfully consistent though. The tail lights are coming on and they're working quite well, but those fans, they're not dreadfully consistent. Now obviously they do still need running in, because obviously there is a motor in here and a gear train that still needs to be run in and lubricated and everything. So obviously it's not going to be a definitive obviously result at the moment. Once these have been run in, you never know, they might perform a lot better. But at the moment they're not dreadfully consistent. They are sticking slightly every now and then. What they're like at full power, no difference whatsoever there. So yeah, at the moment not the best performance from the fans, quite inconsistent, but hopefully that will improve with some running in. But anyway, let's move the dummy units out of the way and get the motor unit on. And if I do end up having to clean the mechanism on these fans out again, then I'm not going to be too happy about it. Because obviously, really, on brand new models, you shouldn't be needing to do any work on them. Certainly not stripping them down and cleaning them out and re-lubricating them, because the manufacturer didn't use a very good lubricant. But anyway, we'll touch on that later. Once she's been running, we'll see how well the fans are performing then. If they're still not performing very well, they're still sticking and not being very consistent, then I will say that the lubricant inside is the issue, because it was the same problem on my Midland Pullman pack. Fans are sticking every now and then. But anyway, we'll leave that later. For the moment, we'll concentrate on how well the model actually performs. So let's just give the motor unit a wiggle and see what happens. A little bit sluggish there, and the fans and the motor units didn't actually work at all then. Let's go a bit more power, see if they're going to work. Okay, no, at the moment the fans and the motor aren't working at all. So could that be that maybe there's something wrong inside? It could be that maybe the switch inside is set really low, so there's barely any power going to them. I'm not too sure. But at the moment, we're not getting any working fans on the motor units. But anyway, we'll get the model running in, get her lubricated, get her warmed up, and then we'll come back and we'll see if there's any improvements then. So let's get her running in. We'll have to excuse the flickering of the lights. It's just the way the camera's picking them up. They are working perfectly stably at the moment. So it's just the way the camera's picking them up. But overall at the moment, she's running quite well. Maybe a little bit squeaky. She's definitely already getting faster. But still nothing from the fans on the motor though. I'm hoping that the actual little motor inside of the fans isn't going to burn out or anything, because it's basically being given power, but it's not able to move. But hopefully after running in we'll see some improvements. So we'll go away now, we'll leave her to run in, and we'll carry on testing her after that. Okay everybody, we are back. So there we go, let's bring her to a stop. So there we go, so she's all nicely running now, all warmed up and all lubricated. And overall, I can't really fault her, running very well, nice and smoothly, nice and consistent. Not showing any issues anywhere, which is good, or at least not showing any issues now. However, as we remembered at the start, the fans on the motor unit, they just weren't working properly. So if you go back earlier to when we first tested her, You may remember that the fans, the motor units here, they were just jammed up, they just weren't working at all. And I was hoping that as the model ran in, that we'd start seeing a bit of life from those fans, because obviously being a new model and the mechanism that I haven't ran before, I was hoping that as she ran, she would get better, as most models do, and everything would loosen up and everything would basically start working as it should. However, even after quite a few minutes of running in, the fans on the motor unit still weren't working, and unfortunately I just couldn't finish the running in period with those fans jammed up as they were. And unfortunately, as I suspected, this HST is suffering, or at least did suffer on the motor unit. The dummy unit I haven't done anything about yet, because the dummy unit wasn't too bad to start with. I'm still not perfect, but definitely not as bad as the motor unit was. But yeah, this HST pack is unfortunately suffering from the very typical fan issues that these suffer from. And for those of you that don't know, it's basically because the lubricants the Hornby use in these, or at least in the fan mechanisms, it's absolutely rubbish. It's so thick and viscous that it doesn't lubricate the mechanism, it just jams it up and it cannot move. And that is exactly what this power car was suffering from. And it was also what my blue Pullman pack that I looked at a while ago, that suffered from the exact same issue, although this one is definitely suffering from it a lot worse than that one was. So unfortunately, because of that, because of how bad this power car was suffering from it, I could not let the tyre unit do that full half an hour's running in each direction with that motor and not being able to move, because for those of you that don't know, a stalled motor is going to draw a lot more current, it's going to get very, very hot, and obviously in the end it's just going to burn the motor out, and I just didn't want to let that happen with this model, especially with it being a brand new model. I obviously don't want to damage any of the components inside or anything. So before I could finish the running in on the model, I did have to take the body off and thoroughly clean out and re-lubricate the fan mechanism in this unit to at least allow it to run properly for the running in, and obviously, well, I suppose for the future as well. So hopefully you can see now, this is after I took the body off, and this is exactly what I discovered inside when I opened up the fan mechanism. And you can just see, for a start, the amount of lubricant is way too excessive. There's way too much of it. And as you can see here as well, where I take some of it off the mechanism, you can see how thick and viscous it is. It's literally like earwax. That's the best way to describe it. And to be honest, it looks like it as well. It's just absolutely terrible. Why they are using, or at least were using, hopefully in newer releases of these HSTs, they all stop using it. Because when I discovered this issue on my Pullman pack, and I also let other modelers know about it, because this issue, I was actually the one to discover it, and I made it public knowledge that people were aware of this, and I contacted Hornby about it as well. So hopefully when they do more releases of these HSTs, so we've got some new ones coming out next year, I believe that they announced this year, hopefully new releases of these new tooled HSTs, hopefully the fan mechanisms will contain a better quality lubricant, because the one that was in these, yeah, really not fit for purpose, absolutely terrible. And I'm definitely going to be shaming Hornby for that. Obviously, again, it may not be their fault, but still, it's their model, they're producing it. Surely they should be overseeing everything that goes into these and ensuring that everything, even something as simple as the lubricant, is fit for purpose. Because if they're allowing lubricants like this to go into models, well, what can you say about that? It's just not good enough. So yeah, it is a real shame that these HSTs that it's a widespread issue with these HSTs, with the fan mechanisms not always being fit for purpose. Your model may not suffer from it, but yeah, I've suffered from it twice now with both new tooled HST packs I've got, and a lot of other modelers that I've talked to have suffered from it as well. So that is a real shame, and it does bring the model down. However, once it's fixed and there's some proper lubricant inside, the fan mechanism does work properly. If I just show you, so if we just get it to come forward again, and hopefully we'll see that these fans are now working properly. So if we just bring it forwards, you can see now the fans are now working. Still a little bit slow and maybe not still dreadfully consistent. However, this model has actually been sat for a few days after it actually finished its running in properly. So it's going to be quite cold. and it's probably not going to be, probably needs a bit of warming up really. But she did have a few, did give her a few laps of the layout just to get her warmed up a bit before continuing with the review. But as you can see now, at least, the fans are now working in the motor unit. The dummy unit still contains the old factory lubricant, and hopefully you can see there, they are binding up quite badly to start with. For some reason, the power cars have just uncoupled. There we go. I think the mechanism is stuck a bit. And there we go. But yeah, hopefully you can see there, they're still not dreadfully consistent, and they're quite badly sticking every now and then on the W units. But on the motor units, they are much better. So it does go to show that using proper lubricant, it really does benefit a model very, very well. So yeah, apart from that issue, it is a shame. Overall, not too bad. Again, running very well, nice and smooth, nice and consistent, and it is good to actually have those fans working now, because yeah, it would have been very, very bad if I'd burnt out that motor. But anyway, I suppose now that she's all run in and all warmed up and lubricated properly, we can give her some proper testing. Now, I was going to run some coaches with these. However, the cross-country Mark IIIs that I have, or at least the sliding door ones that run with these, unfortunately they can be quite temperamental. So I think for this video, I'm just going to have to leave these power cars back to back as they are, and which is fine, I suppose, because they obviously do run like that quite a lot of the time. Anyway, in real life, so it's not too bad, I suppose. But anyway, I think let's get her running and see what she's like. Well, yeah, as I'm sure you can agree, as you can see, excellent performance from this model. She's running beautifully, nice and smooth, nice and consistent. Obviously the noise is not really her fault, that is because of the controller. So I'm not going to mark her down for that. She's not a noisy model, and I'm sure you can agree that on a better controller, these are silent. And even on DTC, they're much, much quieter than this as well. But yeah, overall, an absolutely fantastic model from Hornby. When you get the fans working properly, you can definitely enjoy these. I can assure you, they are great models. Well, overall, in terms of recommending these to you, there isn't overly a lot stopping me. Obviously, you have got the fan issue to be aware of, and it is quite common as far as I know. From what I've heard from others, it seems to be quite a common problem. But in terms of this pack itself, overall, I do recommend it. It's a good model. If you can get these for a good price, I recommend it. Obviously, in terms of using these realistically, that is an area, I suppose, to consider, because out of the box you can't use them realistically, or at least not 100% realistically anyway. But overall, it is a great model. Definitely not the best. There are much better models out there from other companies, and in terms of the HSTs in general, there are better HST packs for you to get. But if you do want these, I do recommend it. Certainly look around for the right price. I don't recommend paying over the odds for them. Try and get one as cheap as you can. But overall, they're not overly bad. And now let's have some ratings for the Hornby Rail Adventure HST pack. So the detail on this model overall, as is usual from Hornby, the detail overall isn't too bad. Lots of separately fitted parts all over the place. A very nice delivery application. Overall, there's not too much wrong with it. The only things I think let the model down slightly is, first of all, obviously the slightly dodgy application of that count rail stripe around the top of the cabs. Obviously it hasn't been applied too well, which is a bit of a shame, and it does spoil the look of the model a little bit. It's not incredibly noticeable, but if you do start looking up close, you can notice it, and it is a bit of a shame. But the other thing that lets the model down, I think, a bit more is that the fact that it doesn't have any opening doors. Now, Hornby used to fit opening doors to their HSTs, and a lot of their older releases do have them, and it is a real shame they got rid of them. It was actually on the previous release that they got rid of the opening doors, and I really don't know why, because there really wasn't any need for it. It is a pointless feature. I know obviously a lot of people don't really use it, but it's just a nice little quality feature, and especially with today's prices, we should be getting all the features that we could possibly get. So the fact that Hornby actually downgraded these models, it is a bit of a shame, and I don't believe I actually mentioned the lack of opening doors in the details section, but I thought I should bring it up now, considering I've actually remembered it now. But yeah, it is a bit of a shame that we don't have those opening doors, which really we should have, and it is a real shame that Hornby got rid of them, because they really shouldn't have done, to be honest. But overall, apart from those two little things, overall a really nice amount of detail on the model, lots of parts all over the place, everything's been nicely moulded and nicely applied. Overall, not too bad at all. The performance on this model, overall, I can't fault it at all. Hornby really are good with performance from their models, and most of the time you will get a model that runs really well, and this is definitely no exception. You get a nice model that runs really smoothly, it's nice and quiet. I obviously know my one doesn't sound too quiet, but that's just because of the controller. Overall, it's a really nice performer, nice and consistent. It's definitely not going to struggle hauling whatever you want it to haul. Definitely a very good performance. I can't really ask for much better. The quality, I think, is where this model does fall down quite a bit though, especially with the issue with the fans still being very obvious. It is a real shame about that. Just the fact that on the motor units they basically weren't working at all because they were completely seized up. That is a real shame, and especially for the price, you shouldn't be having issues like that. And again, obviously that issue with the cam rail stripe not being applied very well on the cabs, that is another slight quality issue. And overall, it's just not acceptable. We shouldn't be having quality issues like this, especially on brand new models like this with the prices that are being charged. It's just not acceptable, and you just can't have that with brand new models. So it is a real shame about that. But apart from those issues, the quality elsewhere is very good. You've got a very nice quality mechanism. The rest of the livery, apart from those cam rail stripes, is applied really well. Everything's been nicely fitted, all nicely moulded. Overall, not too bad quality. It is just those slight issues that I mentioned that do bring the model down slightly. The value for money, I think, is also another issue. Well, I say an issue, definitely another area where this model falls down, and it is quite common with Hornby with their prices, where value for money is an area where models tend to fall down. The RRP for this model, I definitely think is more probably a 5 or a 6 out of 10 in terms of value. Now, the price that I paid, which was £290, I say that's definitely more of a 9 out of 10 value. I still think it's ever so slightly too expensive for it to be a 10 out of 10. But the retailer price that you can usually get these for, which is about £326.99, I say that's probably more of a 7 or an 8. Well, I say 7 or an 8, but probably more. But I say that's definitely more of an 8. So I've sort of split the difference here, taking in the quality issues as well, and I've put the value at 8 out of 10 because overall it's not too bad. Definitely, if you look around and get these as cheap as you can, it's not that bad of an investment, and I always recommend looking around and trying to get a model as cheap as you can. So overall, definitely not too bad value. Definitely other models out there that are worse value than this, but again, definitely not the best value either, because there are other models out there from other manufacturers that are far better value for money than this. They don't have as much quality issues, the details are a lot better, and the features are a lot better as well. But overall, certainly not too bad at all. So that's an overall score of 8.75 out of 10. Definitely not too bad. We have seen better, and considering the issues that this model has, I think it has come out fairly well. And overall, I can recommend it, and that's I think the same for a lot of Hornby's HST backs, especially the new ones. They're definitely not too bad. If you want one, I recommend getting one. It's just mainly being wary of those fans, because it is a far spread issue, and it is quite likely that your model will have it. But certainly, apart from that, overall, I can definitely recommend these.